Well, former President Bill Clinton was an elector, and he cast his vote today for his wife, Hillary Clinton. She, of course, did not win. But that has not stopped him from pointing the finger and blaming just about everybody other than Hillary herself. Here now is David Goodfriend, an attorney and Democratic strategist who worked for Bill Clinton in the White House. David, it's great to see you.
Thanks again for having me on, Tucker.
Well, it's my pleasure. So the former president said yesterday in an interview with a Westchester, New York newspaper that the reason his wife lost, brace yourself, angry white men. So two questions. One, isn't he an angry white man? And two, if some Republican got up and said, you know, Obama got elected because angry black women voted for him, people would say, well, that correctly, they would say that's racist. You can't say that. Why do people get away with this angry white men stuff? I never have understood that.
Now, forgive me, I'm still loyal to my former boss.
Yes.
I'm trying to be a good guy here.
Yeah.
I went back and looked at the numbers when you invited me to come on the show to talk about this.
Right.
And what I found was that Donald Trump and Mitt Romney got almost exactly the same number of white male votes, the same proportion that is. Hillary Clinton got a lower proportion by about 7 points than Barack Obama did. So I love my former boss, President Clinton, but I think that in this case, it was equally a story about a lack of turnout among some of our core constituencies and some of the really important swing states. I don't think, in other words, that it presents a complete picture, what he said. Now, that having been said, he then glossed over something that I think is much more relevant, and you've been focusing on it on your show. He said, yeah, and then there was the FBI and the Russians. Well, hold on a second. We've got John McCain, chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, Lindsey Graham, Republican of South Carolina, saying, hey, we need to focus on the fact that a foreign country tried to interfere with our election.
Okay, but
that ought to be something we can talk about.
Can we be how real do you want to be? So apparently our intel community, to the extent we can suss out what they actually did.
And the Greenwald segment was interesting on that.
It is, and Greenwald's no conservative, just for the record.
Not. No, that's right.
But it is believed that the Russians started their hacking of the respective committees before Donald Trump announced for president.
Right.
Okay, so there is constant hacking of American institutions in the private and public sectors. This is just ridiculous.
Well, but
can I just read you some numbers? I think are really interesting.
I think we ought to at least have hearings about it. I think that's not a bad
that's
idea.
Fine. But let's stop with this McCarthy nonsense.
The hearings would actually tamp down, I think,
maybe. I don't know. Since Obama's election in 2008, the Democratic Party has lost 11 Senate seats, 63 House seats, 12 governorships, and more than 800 state legislative seats. So there is a problem here that goes beyond the Russians, the Electoral College, angry white men. Is anyone in the Democratic Party going to assess that? Maybe Obama is not a good thing for the Democratic Party. 800 legislative seats?
Well, look, I'm a good Democrat. I think our party stands for a lot of good things, but I also think that introspection and kind of figuring things out is really important. For example, in 2012, we had this post-mortem effort at the RNC. Bravo. I think that was well done, and clearly they learned something from it. I'm not sure it was the right thing, but they learned something from it.
They totally ignored that stupid autopsy, and Trump did his own thing and won.
Well, that's a good point. I actually think in this case, we've seen in this country all kinds of massive swings from one way to the other. There was a time when Democrats ran everything after the New Deal for decades.
That's true.
Okay? I happen to think in this case we've sort of reached peak Republican. And I think that now we're going to see a healthy introspection and change in the Democratic Party. Look, Bernie Sanders almost won this thing.
Let's not
forget. He was not supposed to show up at all, and he almost won the nomination.
The real election rigging was the DNC rigging the election against him. Can I ask you a question then?
Yeah, go ahead. I would disagree with that.
He ran on an economic message.
True.
That was the only thing he had was an economic. I disagree with it, but it was a real message.
And it connected.
Yeah, it did. Trump's economic message was, you're getting shafted by a system that's created to exclude you, okay?
Very similar.
Very similar. What's the Democratic Party's economic message? I
happen to think it's going to be the center of gravity is going to be right where Bernie Sanders was, and I hope
where Trump was.
And where Trump was. That's right. I absolutely think that's true. And listen to me. Here's the thing. Now the Republicans are in charge of everything, and we get to see, will it work? Donald Trump seems to be naming people that look more like a George W. Bush administration, which didn't turn out too well.
In some ways, yeah.
I am kind of hoping that he's a success because I come from a state that's been hammered, Wisconsin, where I hope people get jobs. But now the proof is going to be in the pudding. And this is where Democrats like me get to say, okay, you won. You're in charge of everything. All those state houses, all those legislatures, both houses of Congress, the White House. Let's see you produce. That's kind of where we got to be.
It's just interesting what you just said. I think you're right. But it's interesting what you just said, that Bernie ran on the system is rigged, Trump ran on the system is rigged, and now Democrats will be stealing Trump's economic message. Amazing.
I happen to think that Trump stole our economic message.
Maybe
but
he
that's
did.
another conversation.
David Goodfriend, thanks a lot for joining us.
Hey, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Thank you.